So, nearby, Lucas and Brad, what's your favourite shootout in a movie?
Maybe not shootout, but just a lot of people getting shot is the scene in Kingsman.
Classic.
Where it's just like going through that, not quite one shot, but makes it look like a one shot and just annihilating this church.
Yeah, which I should point out, because we've made a video on it, but people who don't know, why does that scene go so hard out of nowhere? That was because the director wanted to show what would happen if a secret agent like James Bond actually fought proper dudes and didn't hold back. Because he got so mad of when he watched James Bond, it's like, all James Bond does is this. I enjoy it when Austin Powers judo chop, and you think, well, it can't be that bad. And then you go watch Sean Connery Bond movies and fights like this. Huh! And that's it. And that's the extent of the action. It's I want to show you what would happen if an actual secret agent with this supposed level of training just went fucking ham. And I wanted to, have a group of people you don't feel bad about getting shot. So I set it in, an analogue for the Westboro Baptist Church. Mm-hmm. And it's sick. Yourself, Brad?
Any scene from the first half of Guns Akimbo?
Not seen it. Is that the one where just
Daniel Radcliffe's got the one where he's got guns nailed to his hands.
Mistakes were made.
So if you've ever seen a character in a movie die through a glass window in slow motion firing two pistols, you can thank John Woo. Any favourite moments of a guy dying through a window in slow motion with two pistols?
Me playing Max Payne at any moment.
Yes, if you played Max Payne, or I guess the game that's based on Hard Boiled, I think, Stranglehold, which is one of those weird forgotten gems where it's basically it's a John Woo movie in game form. Mm-hmm. And people always bring up all those forgotten classics because it was it's not quite as good as Max Payne, mm-hmm. But if you've not got Max Payne, it'll do.
We've got Max Payne at home.
Basically, and it's still pretty good. So if you've ever played a game like that or watched a movie like John Wick, you can thank John Woo. A man who is so beloved for his commitment to stylish, over-the-top gun fu that Hong Kong let him blow up a national landmark for shits and giggles. What do you know about John Woo? We did a little bit of research before this, and you are familiar with not many of his films, but you've seen the action scenes in them, as most people have.
I've seen a lot of clips of John Woo movies,
yes.
And I also have watched, inarguably, his best movie, Mission Impossible 2, the best Mission Impossible.
Because it's directed by John Woo, and he's
not the best Mission Impossible.
The thing is that I like it because it's the one where he's on the bike, right?
Yeah,
and I kind of like that bike scene. And John Woo, he's known for his action, but he's got a bit of range, I suppose. He did Wind Talkers, which is a movie I kind of like. It's Nicolas Cage as a Navajo translator in the Vietnam War. It's kind of a good movie. It has a really harrowing scene in it where it shows you what napalm does, which is really fucking upsetting, and we probably won't put a clip in because it's not nice. But it's just a shot where it's oh god, I don't like that. But then you think, well, it's a war movie. You shouldn't like what's happening on screen.
The description of that movie, I've not seen the movie, but the description of that does not sound like a John Woo film.
No, it doesn't, no. And it reminds me a little bit like Ang Lee, where he's also has this weirdly broad range where he did the Hulk movie, the bad one.
The bad one with really good transitions.
Yeah, but then when he explodes out of the ice cream. But then he also did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and then a bunch of other weird arty stuff. Have you got any favourite John Woo? Because I know the one you're going to mention, Brad.
Well, I didn't realise this was a John Woo film until you told me, but Face Off.
Yeah, Face. And then the thing is that you might not think it's a John Woo movie until you think, well, wait a minute, it's a movie where guys in suits shoot two guns in slow motion. That's a John Woo movie. That's the most John Woo shit ever. And yeah, it's let us know your favourite John Woo movie or John Woo style moment in a movie in the comments below. But yeah, he's a titan of the action genre, and any action movie being made today, if it's a decent one, will probably have some allusions to his work. John Wick 4 just came out. It has an amazing scene towards the end of the movie where John Wick goes through a building with a shotgun, and it's the have you seen it yet?
I've seen it.
Okay, so he goes through with Dragon Breath rounds. And are you familiar with those like Call of Duty and stuff? They're the shotgun rounds that just set you on fire.
Oh my god.
And they film it from above like Hotline Miami or something like that. And it's like, that's so obviously a John Woo reference. Because so many of John Woo's movies, like, Chow Yun-fat clearing a building with a shotgun. And hopefully you can find the clip of where Chow Yun-fat attaches his belt to his shotgun and throws his shotgun around a corner and goes, and just shoots something. It's like, that's so cool!
I love even though, there's so many movies, there's so many different action scenes, but people can still come up with ones that feel new and fresh.
Yeah.
Like that top-down one in John Wick 4, it's probably been done a few times.
Yeah, it's like Hotline Miami.
Yeah, but I can't recall anything that I've seen, at least, that had something like that.
Yeah, well, I think John Wick 4 was basically made as like, okay, we're going to take the best parts of John Wick 1, 2, and 3 and just redo them with a bigger budget and better actors. And they did. And that's why you have, the shotgun scene. Or you have, the nightclub scene, which is, 5 minutes longer, and he's just fighting Scott Adkins in a fat suit.
What's your favourite fight scene in all John Wicks?
Where he falls down the stairs. Because, it's just the fact he fights to the top, and then they kick him down the stairs, and he falls for so long. I feel so bad.
It's the fact that you can see the stuntman kick himself back over.
Like a footballer trying to really play an injury, just to make sure he gets that extra bit of distance, so the fall hurts that bit more.
It did pull me out of the scene a little bit though, where I was watching it he'd stopped rolling. It looks like he's trying to keep rolling.
The thing is, in that same movie, you have the Dragon's Breath room clearing shot. You have the fight at the Arc de Triomphe, where you have people doing power sliding cars that hit people and bounce them through the air as John Wick hits them like he's in Time Crisis or something. It's crazy. They're so good. And it's action movies are back, baby.
I think my favourite one's the start of John Wick 3 when they're throwing the knives at each other in that little
oh yeah,
the museum bit.
Because I think what I love about John Wick movies is that he gets tired. You see him getting tired, that knife fight when he's right at the end and he's so knackered, and there's the guy trying to stand up and he's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And he's so lazy how he throws the final axe to kill him. It's yeah, he gets knackered. It would be tiring.
He also gets hit by a lot of cars.
I think one of the best things I've made is that short-lived experiment I did of no context movie reviews, where I did a supercut of John Wick being hit by cars. And he gets hit by 5 cars. Bring it back to John Woo, his favourite actor, Chow Yun-fat. Perhaps one of the most popular movies in his repertoire, starring Chow Yun-fat, is Hard Boiled. And you'd think, given his pedigree as an action director and the fact he's known as the action guy, when you think John Woo, you think guy sliding downstairs firing 2 pistols. That's in this movie. That comes from Hard Boiled. Initially, when he was writing the script, Hard Boiled was going to be a drama.
To be fair, that's a very dramatic scene.
It's very dramatic, but it's not a drama. It's not like a drama-focused thriller, which was the expectation. That all changed when he was driving around Hong Kong and he noticed the Windham Tea House, specifically a sign outside saying "closed."
Elaborate, please.
So the Windham Tea House
was closed.
Yeah, well, the Windham Tea House it was. It's not there anymore. It was a cultural landmark in Hong Kong, and John Woo was like, "Wait, that's closed." And he found out through his contacts in the government that it was scheduled to be demolished. And he thought to himself, well, that's kind of a shame. This is a landmark of Hong Kong. I should film a scene there for this movie, to immortalise it in my film. And he asked, the Hong Kong government, who gives a shit? If you want to go in there, you could do what you want. I was okay, so he went in. And his idea for a drama-focused thriller just flew out the window like one of his characters when he saw a really big balcony going down a flight of stairs. And he thought, wouldn't it whip so much ass if a guy slid down that firing 2 pistols?
You know what? It's pretty cool.
That's the thing as well. It does whip a lot of ass.
When I was in school and college and I first started doing filmmaking, I remember I had that mindset, that eye of always looking for somewhere you can film.
Yeah.
And you see like an abandoned building or like a particularly high balcony.
It's a skill, yeah.
You can climb it. You're like, I want to film something.
Like production designers, like they get paid the big bucks to do it. It's like location scouts. It's a thing.
I can see it. I can see seeing a cool building and be like, I want to film that.
And that's what, what John Woo, he saw it and went, well, that's an action scene right there. And like he kept thinking, okay, so we can do an action scene here. Maybe I want to do another action scene. Oh, wait a minute, no, we're going to fire a lot of blanks. So there'll be a lot of like, moving stuff around. So we asked the government, like, do you mind if we set off explosives and blanks? And like, it's been demolished. We don't care. And then he thought to himself, wait a minute, so I've got basically a blank check to destroy as much of this building as I want. So he went back to the script and wrote in a 5-minute long shootout in that tea house that destroyed basically every single room. Because why wouldn't you?
Is this the only action scene in the film, or do they have to add more?
Well, it was the only action scene in the film, but just he had so much fun making it. And because he had so much freedom to do what he wanted with the building, he just kept, adding more. Because every time he asked, can I do this? Like, yes, it's going to be destroyed. Whatever damage you do is not going to be worse than when we blow it the fuck up. You can destroy anything you want. You can blow out walls. You can remove parts of it. You can set off, explosive wherever you want, as long as it doesn't affect the structural stability of the building. Because people are inside of it. But once you're done, we'll destroy it and it's no problem. So he just kept building and building until he got, like you said, a 5-minute long action scene where every room of the tea house is blown up.
And thus the Raid was born.
Well, I think the Raid owes so much to John Woo. Because, that's basically what they say, we're going to destroy an entire whole-ass building.
I'd love it if before this he was only a dramatic director, and this one thing just
That's
flipped it around.
He did Windtalkers, which is it's an action film, but there's a lot of drama in there as well, and he just kept adding to this scene. And the problem was, though, while he had permission from the government, they were only allowed to film at night. And according to John Woo, after a couple of days of shooting there, both metaphor and literally, they got a bunch of complaints and the police came in. Because unfortunately, quiet shotguns hadn't been invented yet. And they were told, people are complaining about the noise, which makes sense because they were filming exclusively at 2 a.m. in the morning and firing hundreds and hundreds of guns. And the police turned up initially to shut the production down until they found out that the film was about a heroic cop with a 3-ton penis and went, you know what? We think we want this film to get made. Carry on. When the fire department turned up, because they, there's explosives, there's a fire risk, they turned up, went, okay, we have to shut production down. Who's in charge here? It's John Woo. John Woo? Oh, yeah, he's fine. Let it go. And it gets even better, though, because then the triads turned up and were like, yeah, we're going to extort the production for money. And it's like, who do we go to for the money? Well, it's a John Woo movie, talk to him. Oh, a John Woo movie? Carry on. So basically, everybody in Hong Kong, except for the people nearby, wanting to blow up this building because they thought it was rad as shit.
I mean, I do not blame anyone living nearby, because can you imagine just, however long production was?
Yeah, a couple of weeks,
Every single night at,
2 a.m.
2 a.m.
2 a.m. to 5 a.m.
Hundreds of shotgun rounds are going off next door.
Yeah, but then when you call the police and they're like, no, there's no issue. Or the fire department, okay. And you got a cousin who's in the triads, and the triad's like, no, we're not touching this, it's too cool. And it's like, God damn it!
Every time someone turns up and the fire department turns up, it's like, oh, the main character, he's a fireman. Oh, he's a fireman. The triad turn up. Main character, he's a triad.
But the thing is, though, do you want to say, he's a heroic police officer? The production still they use to advertise the film is, Chow Yun-fat as a policeman carrying a shotgun and a baby. It's like, you can't get more heroic than that. That's the most heroic shit I've ever seen.
That is the most propaganda you
can
ever get.
But at the same time, it's super rad. So just nobody gave a shit, and those poor people had to deal with the shotguns going off for 3 hours a night for a couple of weeks straight. And the end result was hard boiled. And you know what? Worth it.
Where does the baby come into play?
I think there's a scene in the movie where he's carrying a baby shooting a shot. They all kind of blend into one in my mind, but I think he's carrying a baby while shooting a gun.
Is it little ear defenders?
I think he does that, yeah, and I think it might be because then they reference that in one of the Fast and Furious movies where they're rescuing a baby, and Jason Statham puts headphones on a baby and shoots a plane full of people. But then there's another moment in Yakuza, which it has to have some John Woo influences in there, because they have a bit where you're being chased by gangsters and you've got a baby, and you just you rugby throw the baby, and the baby's like, woo!
Imagine being one of these babies.
You're just like, yeah.
I don't mean for the baby at the time, but
Just
I
like
mean
when you're older,
when
like,
you're
that's me.
older and yeah. You're like, Mum, you said I did some acting when I was a kid. Like, yeah, you were the other one being carried while the shotgun's being fired.
It's like, hell yeah.
Surely they were all just horrifying CG babies like in The Flash, right? Burrito babies.
Oh, that's rough. Oh.
Microwave babies.
It's weird when you think that you look at a baby, it's safer in a microwave than it is with Ezra Miller. It's rough, isn't it? Yeah, that reminds me of, like, do you like the cover to Nevermind? Like, the Nirvana album with the baby in the pool?
And the person's now grown up and can't decide whether they love or hate.
Yeah, so if people don't know, like, that baby is like a real baby. It's a real shot. It's a really good shot as well. It's a great album cover because it's so like iconic and distinct. But as Lucas mentioned, the guy in that picture has like variously flitted between, oh, I'm the baby from the Nevermind cover. I'm going to use that for, like, clout, and I want more money. And it just seems like, depending on like what the wind is that day, is whether or not that guy wants more money or is happy to be the baby. Because the thing he says is, oh, all I do is I get shit for being the baby on the Nevermind cover. It's like, no one knows that you're the baby on the Nevermind cover, except for all the people you tell, because why would you not tell people you're the baby on the Nevermind? It's like, I get bullied for it all the time. It's like, no, you're an adult. You don't look like a baby anymore. You're acting like one.
No one's recognising you on the street because of that album.
Like, are you the baby on the Nevermind cover? It's like, no one's saying that.
That's what I was going to say. Like, unless he's telling everybody in his
Of
life.
Of course he is, yeah. And the thing is, he said it's embarrassing because my dick's out. It's like, fair enough, yeah, there's a baby dick on the Nevermind cover.
Yeah, there is.
And I think they cover that up in some like versions. No doubt the version we've got in our, like, in the background now is the covered up version because there's baby peanut.
We're not putting that in a video.
And he says, like, people make fun of me for having my dick out. It's like, well, unless your dick's the same size it was back then, I wouldn't be bothered. And you know what?
I think people have got enough, like, about them to figure out that maybe that was just because you were a baby.
Yeah, and you were in a pool. And what's really funny is that there's like 2 examples of this, and there is...
Wait, there's a second baby on the Nirvana cover?
You don't see the really small one in the background?
No, but there is a second, like, noteworthy baby on an album cover. And it is the baby on the cover to Notorious B.I.G.'s Ready to Die. The baby with the afro. And like the baby that was like the person who was that baby still has like a sick afro. And it's like they love it. Because like, yeah, I'm the baby on the Ready to Die. It's like, cool, yeah. Why would you not want to, like, that would be your chat up line forever, wouldn't it? And the fact that the guy on the Nevermind was like, people keep picking on me. It's like, no one's picking on you because you're a huge salty bitch about not getting enough money.
100%, like, whatever dating app they're on. The first line is like, I'm the baby from the Nevermind cover. Please know that my dick isn't that small.
That's the thing, it's such a good chat line. It's like, when people say, like, what's your claim to fame? Oh, yeah, I did some modelling as a baby. I don't know anymore how to work at what. I don't know what the guy does, besides complain about getting more money from, like, Kurt Cobain's estate. Like, it's such a great thing. It's like you're a part of pop culture history. And I say you can't decide whether or not he enjoys it, depending on how much money he has that week. They say that, like, child stars go off the rails. They don't talk about the baby stars.
They go mention the baby.
They go real off the rails.
Oh, you don't want to hear the backstory of the Baby Geniuses cast. Are you not aware of Baby Geniuses?
Don't think so, no.
One of the singular worst reviewed movies of all time. It's terrible.
Is it literally just babies being filmed that are very small?
Yeah, do you know, like, that thing that people think is cute and it's never cute? Oh, we're going to have a baby.
Or babies.
Yeah, babies talking in human voices.
The idea behind the story of it is like, before you reach a certain age, babies have all the knowledge of the universe. That's it. And there's just some babies who are supposedly smart. But like, I watched a video where somebody went through the franchise and it goes fucking places.
Yeah, it's like Air Bud.
Oh yeah.
It's like Air Bud. Like,
what do you mean franchise? How much of this Baby Genius?
I think there's 5 films, but I think 2 or 3 of them were a TV series that never came out.
Yeah. It's like Air Bud, where like you end up with like Air Bud as a wrestler, and you have people elbow dropping dogs.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have superhero
But
dogs.
the problem with Air Bud though is eventually they started like cats and dogs came out and like, oh, we should make the dogs talk. It's like, no, it's cute when it's just an actual real dog doing stunts. When you have like the dog talking, it's creepy and weird, and the CGI is like really off-putting. But I like Air Bud, where it's like, because when I like. And I don't watch it often, but every now and again I'll rewatch Air Bud, usually at Christmas time.
When I have my yearly watch of Air Bud.
No, because they're on Disney Plus. And what I like to do is, I like to imagine being on the other team. Like, do you know, like those sports movies where it's like the Mighty Ducks or those like, I think it's like the backlot, like, but it's about these plucky underdog teams. I imagine it's a fun like thought experiment. Imagine being the other team. Imagine how pissed off you would be when like they rock up and say, "Okay, our player's a dog," and it's like, how do I tackle a dog? Just think, like, the other one where he plays like soccer, football. It's like, okay, so how do I slide tackle a dog? Like, because no one's gonna slide tackle a golden retriever. That's not fair.
I want to imagine what it's like to be on the opposite team when Teen Wolf rocks up.
That's the thing. You think it's like, that's not fair. He's a werewolf. It's not fair.
This is a great one for the comments. What movie out there would it be weirdest to be on the other side of?
It's Air Bud.
You think it's there's got to be one weirder than Air Bud.
Or maybe on the Air Bud sequels where like just when they. I think there's one where it's like I think it's the soccer one where like they come up and like the referee who's the bad guy is like, I'm sorry, you can't field a dog. It's like, why? Where in the rules does it say we can't field a dog? It's like, well, there's no rule that says you can't, but fuck you, it's a dog. There's no rule that says you can't shit on the penalty spot, but we kick you off for doing that too. And I think one of the people kicks the ball into the net from the halfway line and says, we'd have won anyway. It's like, because you shot a ball on an unguarded net. And they think it's impressive that they could score into an unguarded net from halfway from the ball in their hands.
I'm good enough at this game that I can kick a ball in a direction.
And I just think, like, I think they should allow them to field the dog and then second one, snap it in half.
See,
Just like, you snuff that pup second one and you teach them why. That's why you don't field a dog.
I was gonna say that wrestling a dog and making it tap out would be worse, but having to snap a dog in half, just slide.
No, when I say snap it, I mean it's a term used like like soccer vernacular of when you slide tackle someone to the ankle.
So hard that it probably breaks the bone.
Yeah, so you slide tackle that dog and like that was a fair tackle. All 4 feet were on the ball. And that's why it's like when I watched like the Mighty Ducks. And you watch the Mighty Ducks, and like they have like, you know, they're trying to do their rough and tumble thing of like, oh yeah, we're a it's like, no, fuck you, play properly.
Also, maybe even worse, basketball against like a team with flubber shoes.
What the?
Thing is, that's funny though. I think. Because you even have the opposite team, I think they get mad about that. Actually, seeing like the guy who's like dribbling the bat 1,000 miles an hour, and you see, go, how am I supposed to like intercept this?
We did a video ages back about the military applications of flubber. It's a terrifying substance.
It's terrifying when you think about it, yeah. Well, I get so mad when I watch the Mighty Ducks, and I see like the thing of it was a bit where it's like one of the lads. I think it's the very first one is where they get the lad who's really good, but he's on the other team. And his dad's like the rich dude who pays money to get him on the team. And it's like, okay, technically, yeah, he should be on the Mighty Ducks. But the whole point of that film is play with your friends. Like, you know, we're all friends here. And the instant he finds out the star player is on another team, the star player who has friends on that team, he's like, no, that's my child. And he, like, basically makes that child have to deal with. And I think basically the entire rest of the film, every kid on that team gives him shit for it the entire time. And then him as a coach never tells him, stop giving him shit, he's on our team. And it's like, he must be miserable. And they ask him, like, why are you playing if no one likes you? I just want to play hockey. And yeah, you feel so bad for the kid. And like, you have like the shitty little, like the knobhead on the team. Don't you have like that archetype in like kids' movies, like the shitty kid who thinks he's tough wearing the leather jacket. And he's like, you know, he's doing that thing where he like shoulder checks like the rich kid. He's like, no, fuck you, get him off the team. He's not a team player, don't let him on. Fuck you, Mighty Ducks.
But he's there to learn a lesson about caring for people.
Well, he doesn't know because he's not in the sequel. Because the actor wasn't charismatic, so they got rid of him. Fuck you, that little kid.
So he did learn a lesson, he got fired.
He got fired, yeah. Well, you know, the classic is it's a Karate Kid, isn't it? Where they address him, what's it called? Cobra Kai, yeah, he's like, it was an illegal kick you beat me with, though, right? It's like, well, I still won, but it was an illegal kick. And the fact that like, you still...
You should have got disqualified, I won.
LaRusso is still a prick about it of like, well, I won though, didn't I? It's like, but it was blatantly an illegal kick. It was blatantly an illegal... And the fact that he's still salty about it, it's like, I would be too. Because the entire trajectory of his life changed after that moment. Because, never forget, the opening to The Karate Kid 2 is Johnny Lawrence being like almost choked out to death in the parking lot by an adult man. because he lost that fight. I invite you to do it. Like, just next time you watch a kids movie that's about like these plucky underdogs, imagine it from the other point, and you'll fucking hate the main character by the end of it. It's so good.